Hey Warren, how are you?
Hello.
Good evening, everyone.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How's everybody?
How are you?
Good.
Hello, everybody. This is Warren Burke. How's everyone?
Good. Cooking dinner. How are you guys?
Just finished dinner.
You finished?
I hear much better when I put my earbuds in. Mia,
Yeah.
I couldn't find the agenda, so I have the points that Carmen told me about.
Oh,
oh,
well, there she is. Yeah, the agenda's on the calendar. Give me a second.
Just read it off to me. Yes, this is going to be on 2 meetings. I'll explain to everybody. She was caught up.
Just give me 1 second. Let me pull up the
Thank you.
website so I can pull up the agenda.
Where is it on the website?
When you go to the actual calendar invite and you open up the meeting, it's there on top of the credentials,
Okay,
of the meeting credentials.
okay. Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm waiting for Diana from DOT to sign on. And then we'll start the meeting. In the interim, welcome everybody.
Yeah, so essentially, I don't believe Carmen had a chance to prep the minutes, so the approval of the minutes, we can skip over that. I believe Diana's supposed to be providing some updates.
Right, those I have.
And then it's open discussion and adjournment.
Thank you.
Yes.
And basically, our last meeting, if I remember right, and anyone can correct me, Diana was not there, and we had an internal discussion of the subjects that were priorities for us.
Correct.
Okay.
Good evening, everybody. Please forgive me right now. I am in another meeting, but I just want to take a minute to say good evening to everyone and to thank Warren for agreeing to cover this meeting until I'm able to join you. The agenda is not a heavy one. We're basically looking for updates from Diana on those issues that have been presented to her by Paco via email, as well as during the course of the meeting by other constituents and community residents that have joined our meeting in November. So hopefully she will come on soon and present those update. I will join you as soon as I can get away from this other meeting. But Warren is just as good as having me, although he's not as beautiful.
That's
But
true. That's true. And I don't speak Spanish.
so I'm gonna go back to my meeting, but hopefully I'll be able to join you all soon. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Carmen. Mia, would we have a number for Diana?
No, I do not have her personal contact.
Okay,
She confirmed her participation and was in conversation with the office this afternoon, so she knows
Okay.
she's to be here.
okay, terrific. So while we're waiting, welcome everybody. We might as well use this time productively. What I have as follow-up with Diana is on the crosswalk of Washington and Sterling. Paco, the curb cut, which this is very typical. They did the wrong curb. And then the other outstanding issue I have is the request for speed bumps, which I can go into now. Basically, a FOIL inquiry was made. We got a non-acceptable answer, and we're working on it. Does anyone have anything else they'd like to bring up?
I feel like in the pedestrian ramp request that you noted is definitely one of them, but for a long time I've been sending like a really big list. I can't find it exactly right now, but there are many other things I want to bring up if we have DOT with us. And I mean, as you mentioned at our last meeting, we had a great internal discussion on, a half dozen topics easily that are all valid and just dangerous conditions that I think we all see throughout. So I'm hoping we could just keep throwing things at Diana and get it on her radar.
Okay, what do we all think of the snow cleanup? Any complaints?
Yes.
Let's hear.
I think it's it's easy to complain. I will say that, and
No, but
it's a
I'll tell
very
you why
tough
I'm
job.
asking. Let me tell you why I'm asking. Paco,
Sure.
the reason I'm asking is that the mayor's office called up the district manager and asked if there were any specific areas that were being underplowed.
The
So,
sidewalks and the curbs, like pretty much if you go anywhere along Flatbush Avenue, you have to step into a puddle, like pretty much ankle deep in slush and puddles. I see people with strollers and carts, they're unable to cross because there's not enough, like none of the crosswalks to get off, from the sidewalk onto the street and cross the street are clear really. And there's just a lot of snow and slush piled up along the corners and intersections. So there needs to be, it's nice that they plowed the roads, but they need to be mindful of pedestrians and people with disabilities and, young children or strollers and carts. You can't move around.
Okay, I'll note that. Okay, I see Diana has joined the meeting. Hello, Diana.
Good evening.
This is Warren. Carmen was called to a last minute meeting, which she's hoping to get off at some point and join our meeting. So she asked me to chair this meeting, and DOT is obviously the main topic. So what I have as follow-up, and then you can fill us in, is the crosswalk on Washington and Sterling. The curb cut that was the wrong curb cut, and I do want to speak to you about the speed bump issue. So it's all yours, young lady.
Oh, thank you. The curb cut. So I think what happens is that someone submitted the request for a curb cut when they meant pedestrian ramp. A curb cut is under the jurisdiction of Department of Buildings. So by nature of the request, it was pretty much denied. So it needs to be resubmitted because our engineers probably looked at it and said this, they looked at it, they still surveyed the location and it was still denied, but it should definitely be looked at as a pedestrian ramp.
Okay, hold on one
just-
second, Paco, hold on one second, please. Could you just define for us the difference between a curb cut and a wraparound?
Oh no, a pedestrian ramp. A pedestrian ramp. A
Right.
pedestrian ramp is
Oh, ramp, okay, I
Ramp,
got
yes.
that, okay.
Yeah. A
I know what that
pedestrian
is.
ramp is where everyone stops on that corner to cross that street. So you see where that little ramp goes in order to assure that strollers go,
Right.
it aids with strollers, it aids with the elderly, wheelchair accessible. That little plot of the sidewalk is called pedestrian ramp. A curb cut is by the jurisdiction of DOB, and it is provided usually for cars. So whether or not it's a driveway, whether or not it's to facilitate truck loading back end for warehouses, and you'd have to apply for that. And it's a completely different process.
Okay, so what you're saying is that we'll hear from Paco in 1 minute, that whoever applied for it, which I assume was Paco, applied for the wrong thing and it fell under another department, is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
And does DOT do the curb ramps?
So DOT does a pedestrian ramp.
Okay, fine,
And
that's what I meant.
Department of Building does the curb cut. So think of curb
Okay.
cut as just
No,
just to facilitate cars, and the
no, I
pedestrian
got
ramp.
that, I got that.
Okay.
All
All
right,
right, I
so
just wanna make
Paco,
sure.
what do you have to say?
Thank you for I guess chiming in and clarifying that, but like I really want to voice displeasure because it's been requested as a pedestrian ramp for sure, and it's been several years, and I've gotten multiple explanations as to why it's not there. Like from one saying it would block drainage, one saying that it was added for consideration, and once I don't know if it was you or someone else at DOT had told me like, oh no, they're doing the right one, even though they just redid the one across the street. Yours is probably still on the queue, and that was many months or years ago. Like I first requested it. I can't even look up the service request numbers because it only lasts a year when you go on 311's website. And I guess I didn't think it would take so long, but like I first requested it when my eldest daughter was born. She's 3.5 now. And I was going to the library with her, which is across the street. I am now frustrated with it because I have a 6-month-old that I'm trying to also take to the library when possible. And there's still not a pedestrian ramp that would allow for strollers or just basic ADA compliance.
Okay. So
so-
Parker, I just want to make sure we're talking about the same location. So the curb cut request came last year at New York Avenue and Maple Street.
Pedestrian ramp request.
I have on record here, I'm looking at the request, it's written down as curb cut. And in terms of drainage, you are correct. Give me 1 second so I could pull it up.
Take your
Our
time.
engineers, yes, so I guess from the nature of the request, it was probably suggested a temporary asphalt ramp. And it was denied because if we do install one, it would impact the drainage of the street runoff to the existing catch basin.
Sure, if you do
So Diana, what do we do to move this forward?
So that's actually a question I posed internally, because I understand that, the concern here is about, crossing the street safely.
Correct.
But if a pedestrian ramp can't happen, what are the other options? So I posed that question today internally, and I should hear back soon. But
Okay.
I also would recommend if you want to do requests, to just I prefer doing it on our DOT website because it stays in our system longer than a year. And you can also look at the types of requests that come into that specific intersection through our website. I just find it easier with a DOT tracking number rather than a 311 number. People can do as they please, but I like tracking things through the DOT number. But yeah, I would renew the request for the pedestrian ramp because that's the only one I found. Yours, the tracking number that was provided to me was the only one I found regarding the location for Maple and New York Avenue.
Do you have that tracking number handy?
Yeah, let me just pull that up. Give me 1 second.
Sure.
Actually, I need a few more seconds. Can we move on to the other itinerary and then I could just put it in the chat?
Okay,
Sure thing.
but I do have a statement about this.
Sure.
Paco, let's go on 2 tracks, okay? Whether or not you did the correct thing, which I assume you did, let's put in another request on the DOT website. And in the interim, could you please send the information to BK09, our email to our office? And I'll ask our district manager to bring it up at his next, he has a district council meeting, which the DOT representative will be there. Is that you, Diana?
Yeah, it would be me. I
Okay.
already sent the, actually it was Mia who provided the tracking number and I did the research. So Mia and I have a record of the tracking number.
Okay, well,
So
let's see
Mia
if we
has
could
that
do
on
this.
them.
Okay,
Paco, I
look,
can forward you over the email after I sign out the meeting. I'll get you the info.
okay, the
And Mia,
important
Thank
part,
go ahead.
the important part is to get this done.
Yeah.
So based upon whatever whatever errors were made or non-errors that were made, or he said, she said, can we expedite this, Diana?
What I can do is prioritize the study. I can't
Okay.
prioritize I can ask for that to happen, to say like, hey, this is a concern. Can we prioritize it? And then
Okay.
I can definitely request it, but
Okay,
I don't know how many things due to COVID, there's a huge backlog. So I'm not sure where it would lie, but I can definitely request that for you.
okay, that would be great, because I understand Paco's frustration with 3.5 years. And on the other hand, I understand the bureaucracy, but let's move forward as much as we can and make the request as much as we can.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Just I guess final point on it. There's no chat function in here, Diana. So if you want to email me or email the CB and forward it along the DOT request number you have, the one I have is a DOT request number, not through 311. It's DOT-513-434-N4H2. And on
That's
the DOT website,
Got it. That's not the one I have, but can you send that to me so I can also, so I could double check that, please?
Yes, I will. And on the DOT website, it says the status is resolved, location added for consideration.
That's the
Obviously,
Sterling
nothing
one,
has-
correct?
No, this is Maple. This is the
And
same one
New
we
York
were talking
Avenue.
about, Maple and New York Avenue at the library. And
Got it.
of course, I mean, DOT does so much. Of course, things fall through the cracks. Obviously, everyone's best of intentions is assumed, but things still fall through the cracks. So one other comment I'll make is I had my hopes raised over a year ago when I saw the etchings on the ground that are these, what I've come to believe are the very standard markings done by a contractor when they're about to cut out the curb. And like, you know, it's that like arc is done in white on the ground. And it looks like, I think I tweeted at DOT and asked about it and everyone else jumped on. They're like, oh yeah, you're about to get a curb cut. And then that just faded away and nothing was ever done with the markings already done. So I think something is certainly being lost in the system. I don't know who else might have details on
Yeah,
it.
and Paco, it's not a curb cut, it's a pedestrian ramp.
Sorry. Yeah.
No, I know, but
Thanks.
I get caught in this stuff all the time, so.
Please don't, I
Yeah.
understand how easy it is to get confused, but our engineers are extremely literal.
No, I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. That's the nature. Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you, Paco, and thank you, Diana. Diana, let's move on to the next topic. I believe it was raised by Felice and Valerie about the crosswalk on Washington and Sterling, and whether that crosswalk correction, I'm not quite sure what that is, can be included in the reconstruction project.
So, I'm not sure when they submitted for the request, but I will say this, that for the pedestrian ramp at Washington Avenue and Sterling Street were upgraded in September 2020. All the crosswalk marking and traffic control decisions fall under intersection control and geometric design. So basically, it needs to be studied. It doesn't fall under pedestrian ramp unit. Now that there's a middle school that opened, it's possible to resubmit for the study, and we'll definitely find new findings. And we can get that done soon. But I think there's already a request for it, because they gave me the due date for this study 2022 of April. So it's in the system and it is being currently studied.
Okay, thank you. Felice, I see that you're on. Do you have any comments?
Okay, it took me a while to get on. So
Hey,
you realize
it happens.
Yes. Hello. Hello everyone. How are you?
Good, I'm good,
Okay.
thank you.
Good. So because I came in late, I have to apologize for that. You're speaking of Empire and Sterling. Let me
Washington and
just
Sterling.
Washington Avenue and Sterling Street.
So is that the fork that we were speaking on pertaining to where the schools are located? Because I thought that was Clausen and
No, Felice, she's actually speaking about the exit outlet of Weston B. For
Right,
which a middle
hello.
school is now open across the street,
Hello, everybody.
directly from that outlet.
okay.
Hello, everybody.
Hi,
Hi,
Carmen.
Carmen. Are you
Yes,
with
hi.
us?
I'm with you for a minute. I'm got one ear here, one ear there, but I heard the Washington and Sterling situation. No, that was not brought up by Felice and Valerie. We actually had there was residents on my block on Sterling Street that brought up that issue. And it was done particularly because, yes, there have been a request before for that intersection, but it became more urgent as a result of now having the school that's right across from the parking lot from Western Beach. And of course, those children have to cross the street, the parents have to cross the street. So the situation changed from the previous request, because of course, now we're talking about the safety of those students, which is why I had asked Diana to look into the possibility of that being incorporated into the ongoing project there, being that there is there are markings and street signs and all kinds of other traffic signals that are part of the Empire Washington Franklin reconstruction. And I just heard what Diana was saying, and I understand that from the response that my neighbor received, they said that it was scheduled for another study in April of 2022, which is around the corner, really, the way days are going nowadays. And the Empire project is still on. There has not been any activity lately, I guess, because of the weather. So I imagine that by the time that so-called study take place, it probably will not be incorporated because that project is still not complete. So again, I want to thank Diana for taking the time to look into that situation. I didn't hear the entire explanation about the curb cut, but I'll listen to the tape or get filled in later. I don't want to hold anybody up.
Yeah, you can call me.
Well, I think that, if I may, we always had expressed that fork there should never have been touched. So we didn't understand the urgency or the necessity of touching that fork. It was nothing wrong with it. So we're still, or I'm still in perplexity of why that had to be touched anyway. All right, so now that we have the school, perhaps they will reverse what was never broken. Okay.
Yeah, Felice, I remember this from years ago.
Correct.
And I remember the debate about it. And it has to be 3-4 years ago. And then it happened. So I don't know the wheres and whys, but you know, things do change in terms of the school across from it. It's probably a nursery school, I think, or something like that, if I remember right.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So let's see.
Does anyone know how many students are in that school?
No,
No? Okay.
but we can, it's probably not a lot, by the way.
Okay.
By not a lot, I don't know, 30, 40. I mean, it's been a long time since my kids went to nursery school, but that's what I'm
Alluding
speculating.
to. Right.
So let's
So
take a look, you know?
let me you know, piggyback on what you're saying about 30 or 40. Now that this community has grown and it's still growing, okay, I still feel strongly that that fork should have never been touched. I was raised here to tell you, okay, what works.
Right, but based upon the construction going on, what do you suggest as a solution?
Is this question for me
Whoops.
or for Felicia?
For Felicia?
Well, oh, for me, okay. I
Yeah,
think it should have never been
because for
touched.
Diana, I would assume the answer is it's being done, but go ahead.
I would say it should have never been touched. What was wrong with
Okay.
it? Then it was saying, oh, you needed to put more trees. Prospect Park is right across, you know,
I
a few
know,
feet.
I remember that, yes.
So, I mean,
Yes.
if it's money that you need to have spent, pass it over here, I'll take it, okay? And I probably can utilize it in a better way, okay? We have sidewalks to be fixed, okay? The parks that
Okay.
are already in existence, you know, let's fix
Okay.
those that have been broken down due to the weather. You know,
Okay.
there are many ways of enhancing where we live instead of
Right. So
destroying and breaking down.
let me direct this to Diana. Diana, is there any reconsideration or anything that our community can do to act upon what Felice is saying?
I can't speak about the decisions that were made in the past. I know
Correct.
that this study is reopening back up in April. I'm not sure what else can be done. Again, I could pose that question when I get back in the office tomorrow and ask if there can be any additional tools in our toolbox, really, to see if there's anything else we could add, but I'm not sure. I can't really speak to it right now.
Okay.
And
I mean,
there's a lot going on. To be fair, there's a lot going on Empire.
no, I know, I
So
see that. I ride
yeah.
past that every day. And there's a lot of work going on there. I mean, the real question comes down to, and I think that you said there's a study in April, the major concern at this moment is the safety of the children at the new school, and that school had opened after. So if you could ask the question and just bring up that things have changed and get us an answer, it would be terrific.
Great. And I can also just ask what the next steps are and then reach out again to Mia or Khalid to submit a request specific for the school too.
No, that's important. That's important because there has been a change. All right. Thank you, Felice. Is there anything else you'd like
Thank
to
you,
report
Warren.
on, Diana?
Um,
Go ahead, sir.
I wanted to also, this is, I don't think it's been brought up, but I've had several meetings with Dante about MS 61 on Empire. I just wanted to say that we will be doing a change for the school regarding the loading zone to make it safer for MS 61. So that's in the works. It should take about 3 to 4 months. And that's that update on that Empire School. And
Well, that loading zone is in the back or on the side, on New York Avenue or on Sterling?
I think it's on New York Avenue where the gas station is.
Okay. That's
Yeah,
across the street.
that's across the street, exactly. So we've met with the principal a couple of times regarding the safety. We did put up some signage change to make loading and unloading safer for
Okay.
children. I just wanted to give you the heads up across the street. We're also making changes once school dismissal and school drop off as well. We're doing those changes. And what else? I think that's it for now that I have on my notes.
Okay.
May,
Thank you. Does anyone have any topics they'd like to bring up with Diana?
may I please?
Of
This is
course.
Scalise. Thank you, Warren. So my question is, can I bring up the topic of Washington Avenue and Clausen where Prospect Heights and Clara Barton
Yep.
is?
By all
Regarding
means.
that fork? Have
Yes.
they, okay, have the schools been consulted regarding these, I hope there's not a plan, but let's say so-called plans, have the schools have been consulted to let them know that this is something that's been talked about?
I'm not sure what
That's
you're,
the closing, they want to close Washington Avenue in Clausen and make it so that the bus can go straight up Washington, not detour towards where the schools are, Clara Barton and Prospect Heights. They want to close that area right there. That was the talk. And we
That
were
was the
hoping that they don't do
presentation we
that.
had. We had the
Mhm.
presentation on the island, going up Washington, and I don't know what the cross street is. I think it's President. Do you remember that,
Yes.
Diana?
Yes.
yes, I do.
Okay.
I'm not sure if, let me get back to you on that. I'm not sure if the schools were consulted, to be quite honest.
Okay.
Okay, that's important. That's a major thing, and I traverse that probably every other day, so it's important to hear about.
Right. And it's not
Any-
just Prospect Heights and Clara Barton, but it's also a middle school that's in between the two high schools.
Correct.
So it's a lot of bus service that
Correct.
that travels there. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I apologize for mispronouncing your name earlier. It's Scalise, not Felicia, sorry. I apologize for that.
Any other questions or comments for Diana?
No worries.
Yes, I wanted to know, is there any work that's being done for the intersection of Ocean Avenue and Parkside, which is highly congested at the entrance of the Q train? Is there anything in the works? I know the statue of it's coming up there from a meeting here last week. I found out it's going to be inside the park. I wanted to know to what level the Department of Transportation is involved with that location. I know it's going to be close to traffic, but the congestion, is also a bike lane, is supposed to be a protected bike lane. Is there anything that the Department of Transportation is involved in? If it is, what's the update?
And I just want to break in here. This is Nick Almanor. He is the chair of the Parks and Recreation Committee of the CB, Diana.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Give me 1 second. You mentioned, what was it, Ocean Avenue and Parkside?
Correct, Ocean Avenue and Parkside, yeah.
So I want to be fair here. Give me 1 second.
Take your
I
time.
I appreciate the question, I do, but when we talk about intersections, I would like to kind of get more specific because there are over 70 cases for that intersection. So, and I don't have a record of all 70 requests that come in. So what do you want to see? Or do you just want me to give you an answer later on and email the CB9 with things that we are currently doing? Or is there something that you would like to see and that have requested that I could get back to you on?
Now, you could get back to me later on, but I wanted to know what are the plans and the mitigation factors for that intersection? Because that intersection is very, very crowded. And you know, during rush hour, both morning and afternoon, it's practically a parking lot. Yeah, I don't know, I used to drive there to go to work in the morning. It's always a nightmare. Plus with the incoming of the statue gonna be right outside the intersection. And I know there's a plan for a protected back lane. I needed to know what work that is being planned and what other mitigation factor that can be done to ease up the congestion and the traffic. Some people have mentioned they should probably have it a no parking zone between the hours like from 7 to 10 and from, let's say, from 3 to 7. That way traffic can flow more. So that's the reason I'm interested to see, are there any plan for mitigating the congestion and the traffic in that intersection? Because you have the B12 turning over there, you have people coming out from the train station, people traveling, going to work.
Are
It
you
could be
talking
a
about
tough
Lincoln?
intersection.
Excuse me, are you talking about Lincoln or Parkside?
I'm talking about Parkside.
Parkside, he's talking about
Okay.
Parkside.
But-
I'd have to get back to you on the things that we're doing. There are over 100 requests on that intersection. So I'm not sure what, in terms of your specific concern, traffic mitigation, I'd have to look into it.
Okay, I appreciate that. Mhm.
Hi, Diana, it's Warren. Does traffic
Yeah.
mitigation mean calming of the
Yes.
traffic?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
As everyone knows, I ride a bike, and that intersection is just totally confusing. There's 18 things going on at different times within the lights and the turns and everything else. So I support Nick's request for that. I would also like to add Lincoln and Ocean Avenue. That is a huge pedestrian area as well as bikers. So I don't know if you could look up what the request was or anything else. That's a huge entrance to the park, especially on smorgasbord days. So if you could take a look at that, it would be great also. And to be specific, the cars on Lincoln making a left turn onto Ocean, just like, sometimes jump ahead there, and you have pedestrians as well as bikers, starting to cross.
I will say to note a lot of traffic congestion, and I'm not saying all of it, but I'm saying a lot of it is the behavior of bad drivers, right? Drivers who are not
I
considered.
agree.
So
Just like there are bad pedestrians and bad bikers.
bikes, exactly, absolutely. So sometimes the conversation revolves around enforcement. So yeah, I could check to see if there's anything structural design wise that DOT has been asked to do. But sometimes a lot of the requests for traffic mitigation is just more NYPD traffic agents to be out there.
That
So
could
just
be.
to give you guys.
Yeah, and the other thing I'll add is that the Lincoln Road, they have a supermarket, Lincoln Supermarket, I guess it's called. And there's all the double parking of the trucks, which narrows the road. But that goes back to enforcement.
Mhm.
So thank you. Okay, any other questions, comments?
I'd like to continue that topic a little bit. On Lincoln yesterday or 2 days ago, I saw there was an incident with it's also a bus layover spot at Lincoln
Correct.
between Flatbush and Ocean, and there was I get that's a lot of this is MTA and how bus frequency and so many issues, but there were 5 buses all on their layover, I guess, and one of which was double parked. And because they were double parked adjacent to a bus and, that's on the eastbound side going into the park, coming in the other direction, it seemed like private passenger vehicles were there's the parking lane, and then they were double parked as well. So there was full gridlock. I stood there for 5 solid minutes and watched just horns blaring the whole time. A few people got just so frustrated that they did really dangerous illegal U-turns just wildly to escape the intersection. That seemed like an extreme example to me, but I will say that that one block between Flatbush and Ocean on Lincoln seems to be an evergreen issue because of double parking, which I get is an enforcement issue, and because of the MTA buses, which obviously we want our buses and want them to have space needed. I'm curious if there could be, I guess I'm just curious what more could be done beyond like referring something to NYPD. I'm even curious, I've only been here, I think 8 years or so. So like, I know, was it like a decade ago? I think the CB actually requested that road became one way and now is 2-way. Or I think there's some history to it. Obviously traffic patterns change, but I'm curious if perhaps a very big picture assessment of Lincoln Road by that transit hub and by the park and by Flatbush, which is a neighborhood hub for so many reasons, can something really in depth be done to look at it and figure out a better solution for all?
Again,
think
I could take it back, but I can't speak to
Yeah.
if it is or it is not being looked at right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Diana, it's a valid
Yes.
request. I think what Paco brought out, when he brought up the MTA, there are buses making a right turn from Flatbush. But I think the major thing there is enforcement between the Lincoln Market trucks, MTA, okay, and the double park cars. But all I can tell you, it's a hazard. So if you could take a look at it, it'd be great. And we'll bring it up through public safety. On
And also bring it up
enforcement.
to MTA as well.
Yeah, okay.
Because MTA, that's a conversation MTA can have with their drivers too, to see if they have any ideas on
Yeah.
mitigation, right? They're there all day. So
No, they are. And they certainly have a supervisor there. So
yeah.
he can supervise. And there's also a police station right there. I see policemen hanging around all the time. So
Yeah.
we'll bring that up on 3 fronts: DOT, MTA, and the precinct.
Mhm.
All right. Anything else?
I'm here
I
to
remember,
listen. I don't have
okay,
anything.
you brought up the MTA. So you are DOT,
Yes, correct.
right? Okay, so we do need the MTA here because we are having some delay issues for the 48 bus. And the
Which one is
48
that?
bus, that's the bus that runs up Washington Avenue. And it goes straight up towards Clawson, straight
Okay.
up that route. We fought very hard and had to get 2,000, but we got more than 2,000 signatures to get that bus line back. And who helped us was Tish James. So now that it's back, okay, it's been some years, a good maybe 5 years or 6. But the bus line is so backed up, it's not funny.
What does
So
that
what do we
mean,
do about
please?
that? Meaning
What does
that
backed up mean?
backed up means that it's on a time schedule. I even have an app that tells you when it's coming or expected to arrive.
Yes.
But it will say it's coming in 10 minutes, and that 10 minutes will be 20 minutes. Okay. Or it would say it'll be there in 3 minutes and then it happens to be 15 minutes. So we're
Okay.
wondering, is it due to employment, you know, that there are not enough bus drivers? Or, you know, we don't know what the delay could be.
Okay, hey,
But
let me
it's
speak to
constant.
Fred and, let me speak to Fred and Dante,
Okay.
and we will approach this. Okay, as
appreciate
well
that.
as other MTA issues. So that's a
Thank
very
you.
good comment. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, anybody else? Okay.
Hello, I'm back. So, I
Who
just
is
came
that?
in at the tail end. This is Carmen. I came in at the tail end, so we were talking about buses. All
Yes, ma'am.
right. So, for our next meeting, I guess we can have Andy from MTA come to that meeting so that we can talk about buses and subway issues, because that's not DOT.
Oh,
All
may I
right.
ask, something else came to mind, if I may, please. I sent you, Carmen, an accident that occurred recently. It was around a snowstorm. Did you see those pictures that on that corner? Okay. So perhaps we can discuss further on what we can do to prevent these accidents from reoccurring, because that corner there, we can't even cross to go to catch the bus. We have to, because the turn is so sharp and so fast in both directions, that we have to be very careful in crossing to get to the bus. It's on that next corner on
Right.
Washington Avenue.
Right, which, if I'm not mistaken, those were all issues that were brought up during the November 10th meeting when the presentation was made about the project, the Washington Avenue project.
Yes, ma'am.
Which, by the way, if I'm not mistaken, is due to start soon.
The project,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm not clear on what they plan to do.
No, not asking you. I don't know if Diana's still on, but
Oh, I
if I'm
see.
not
I'm sorry.
mistaken, the timeline, I think it was in April.
For which one? I missed the
No, I was trying to remember during the presentation on the Washington Avenue reconstruction. Is it in April or August? I know there was like a month, a start month.
There was a start
Hey.
month. I don't have that information with me.
Yeah, I know. I was
Well,
trying to see if I could.
Yeah, I have it in the office. I don't have it with me tonight.
Yeah, but if I'm not mistaken, it might have said August or something like that.
I believe it's August too. For some reason, we couldn't do it during the spring, and we could do it in the summer. But again, I don't want to promise that. But yeah, I think you're right in terms of August.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, which means that if that project is going to kick off, I understand. If I'm not mistaken, they have said that they might. What's his name? Who did the presentation? Worrell. I don't remember the guy's name. He has when the safety issues and the speeding and all of those. Actually, I need to send you all the minutes because it's all in the minutes. He had discussed maybe being able to do some temporary traffic calming, but short term was what he said. But with the project being so close to start, I don't know. But we can revisit it.
Okay. Yes, please. Let me know. I'm trying to look it up through my email, but
Yeah, I know. It's all in the minutes. So I would send the minutes to everyone because it's all there. All of the stuff that was discussed about temporary fixes versus long term and capital projects and everything like that.
Hi,
So,
excuse me,
but
Carmen.
let, uh-huh,
I'm gonna jump off because I have another meeting I want to attend.
I
But
know.
I want to thank Diana and everyone else. I really appreciate all the input and the answers. Thank you.
And I appreciate you jumping on short notice, Warren. I called Warren like 15 minutes before the meeting started.
I
So
got
Well,
thank you
thank you,
so,
nervous.
Warren.
Thank
thank
you
you so
all.
much
Have a
for
good night.
jumping
Thank you,
in.
Diana, and everybody
Thank
on the
you.
call. Bye-bye.
All right.
Thanks. Good night.
Good night.
So, all right. I don't know if there was introduction done. I'm kind of late, but it really don't matter. So Diana, you're the only one from the agency, or are there any colleagues with you?
Just me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Unless
I
you
just
guys
wanted,
wanted somebody else, but it's just me today.
no, I just wanted to make sure that all the agency representatives were recognized. I want to say, so if you had any colleagues, I wanted to acknowledge them and thank them for being here. So other than the board members and the members of the committee, we have community residents. So are there any community residents that have anything they want to bring up to the transportation committee? No?
Hi, I suppose I could just introduce myself. My name's William. I moved to Brooklyn a year and a half ago. I moved here, I sold my vehicle and bought a bike. I'm passionate about biking, bike infrastructure, and pedestrian infrastructure. And I'm just dipping my toe in, so I'm just doing some listening here, but I plan on showing up to all the meetings and other ones pertaining to these issues as well.
Oh, well, welcome, William.
Thank
And
you.
actually, I extend an invitation. If you wish to join our committee, please do so.
I
Since
submitted
you,
an application to a committee. I'm not sure which one. We're kind of in the place where we're moving, so I'm not sure what my address is going to be at the time, but I think I did it to this one, to CB9, but I think I'm actually in what, 17 now, right now? We're actually
like right on the border.
We're right on the border.
oh, okay. Yeah, that's like the people in parks at one side, this one side on the other side.
Yeah,
But
so
you're more than welcome. Thank you for coming. Please feel free to join us anytime and bring up any issues that we might be able to help you.
I do. I just I'm new to this, and I got a lot of fire in me, so I guess I just
Okay.
just gotta watch it. But I agree with what everyone's saying. I agree with what Paco said. I think if I could just add to the Lincoln and Washington Flatbush area, I mean that's one of your main. I mean, there's only 4 bike lanes in the neighborhood, and that's one of the main ones. And that you get down into Flatbush and Washington, and that's a nightmare there. And like you are discussing, it runs you right into like 4 or 5 buses, subway stop in Lincoln Market, and then the park entrance, and it becomes a nightmare in a hurry.
Okay. Well, I'm not a bike driver, and I can tell you that when it comes to driving, it could take me half an hour to go from my house on Sterling Street to Eastern Parkway. To actually take me less than 5 minutes. So we all facing issues. Pedestrians, cyclists, motorists, we all facing issues. It's just too many people on the street. Period. So welcome. So anybody else? Who else do we have? Mr. Yates, Porter Yates.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Yeah, I'm here with Shawnee Van Breukelen. She's on the committee, I believe.
Hi, everybody. We moved here about 3 years ago, and we just thought we'd kind of listen in and see what was going on with transportation. Porter's a biker. I'm definitely not a biker. I'm a walker, but one thing, I don't know if this has anything to do with Department of Transportation, but we're on Carroll between Bedford and Rogers, and with on the left side of Rogers, there's a lot of buses that go through, which is fine, but there is one company that has a lot of pipes, kind of construction materials outside of their establishment. And then when you have the bus and that clogging up the street, it makes it
Yeah,
extremely
it's
hard
terrible traffic from that.
to walk. But I don't know if that has anything to do with,
On Carroll between Bedford and Rogers?
yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
On Rogers, yeah. If you
If you can send the photo to the CB, because that might be multi-agency, it might just be that the cops need to reinforce because the permits,
Right.
they need a permit for that.
We
It
went
depends on-
to, sorry, I was gonna say, we went to a community meeting and spoke to the cops about it, the local cops in the precinct. They know about it. I think they were saying it was someone else that it's not a legal loading zone.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can you send an email to the board
Sure.
Sure.
and just, you know, lay out what the situation is so that we can look into it further?
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
Carmen, yeah,
Yeah.
Carmen, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that the location that they're referring to is actually on Rogers. Can you clarify, you're speaking about the plumbing supply store that's on Rogers? I believe it's between President and Carroll.
Yeah, that's the one on the
Left side.
It's
yeah,
on the
left side.
right. It's on the left side. So you may recall that that actually is not something that's not a new issue. And as they stated,
okay. Yeah, I think we actually, the plumbing store, they park on the sidewalk and they double park and triple
Yeah,
park.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
well,
Because
well,
if
the
I'm
real-
not mistaken, we had the person come to the board meeting. Oh my God, that was years ago.
yeah, this is not so much of a loading zone issue that's causing the congestion. The original concern or the impetus for the attention that they received had to do with the violation of the no standing zone that exists because of the implementation of the bus route, of the bus lane rather, not the bus route.
Right.
We
I mean,
now have
now
a bus
that you're
lane.
refreshing that's the situation. There's no parking
From 7 a.m.
from
to
7 to
10
10,
a.m.
and then
and
from 4
There's
to
only
7.
three, right, there's only 3 lanes of traffic, one of which is now a bus lane, and 2 are for travel for all other vehicles other than buses. So what
No,
they have been allowed to do with impunity, and this dates back at least 3 years now, is in the middle of the 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. rush hour is basically create a bottleneck on Rogers between Carroll and President.
No, I
It backs
recall.
traffic up all the way down to Empire. And it is interesting because however well they're connected, whoever they know, and I'm phrasing it like that intentionally, it basically is overlooked because I believe that if they wanted to crack down on it, if it was somebody else, I don't think they would be allowed to shut. They're basically shutting Rogers Avenue down whenever they want to.
Yeah. No, now
So-
that you bring me back, it's an enforcement issue because I personally had gone there. Oh man, we're talking about like 2013, 2014, when the situation was first brought to the board, and spoke to the gentleman, and then we even had him come to one of the transportation committee meeting at that time. And we spoke about the issue because they park their trucks on the sidewalk and then they park them triple park actually. Because they park on the sidewalk, they park at the curb, and then they double park the trucks. Yeah, okay.
Well-
I know what it is. And
I
that's an enforcement issue.
have to interject here. I have to, say goodbye. I have other.
No, Diana,
can't stay
thank you so
on.
much. Yes, no, you're free to go.
Thank you so much. And please
It's an
email me
important
with
issue.
anything. Have a good day.
All right, thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much for your patience and for putting up with us and for your late hours.
Anytime. All right, have a good one.
All right, good night. But yeah, so I know the situation. There should be a whole file in the office about this because we did have conversation with them. We did talk to the priest and Vinny was there at the time. So we'll just have to revisit that and see how we can what kind of solution we can come up with. So thank you for bringing that to our attention. We'll definitely look into it again because we did before. All right.
And thanks for clarifying, Jeff. That's really helpful to know the history.
Yeah. Thank you. Anything else, Mr. Scalise?
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Patrick
Hi.
Scalise. This is my first time joining. I'm extra new to the neighborhood. I moved in August last year.
Oh, welcome.
Thank you so much, and I'm very excited about to get to hear all the projects going on. I think it's great for people to have such close eyes on transportation issues. I'm actually a transportation professional myself. I'm a transportation planner. So definitely interested to get involved where it makes sense. And I don't think I have anything particular to bring up tonight, but looking forward to hopefully joining these calls as much as I can.
Oh, please do so. And now that we know you are expert, a transportation specialist, we definitely would love to have you on our committee. All right.
Well, I
So
would love to join. So should I send an email to
yes,
the board?
reach out to the board. The assistant district manager is on. So if you can reach out to the board tomorrow and have them, I don't know if they're online. Are they online, Mia?
Yes, the application is online. I have the link, so I can definitely send it out.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
Mia,
just fill
I'll
out-
email you, I guess, to get that.
Okay.
Sure.
That's
Great.
fine. We love to have you. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. So with that, I will
Can I just,
huh?
sorry, before we go, can I just ask two things maybe for us, for the CB to get DOT to do, see if there are any updates, but the Brooklyn, we spoke about 2 years ago about Brooklyn Avenue, accessibility issues with lack of crosswalks to Wingate Park and just
Right.
overall speeding along that corridor. And I remember I'd sent some videos. I think you passed them to Keith Bray. I assume a study was initiated around then, but I know it was February 2020. So
Right. And I
COVID
think the
obviously
last
delayed everything,
time
but
I think the
wonder
last
if there's
time
more.
we spoke about it, Paco, you and I were supposed to do homework on the DOT numbers. There was like 12 numbers that they were issued for that whole area. It was a
That's
long list of DOT numbers.
right.
Okay. So we have to look into all of those, try to recover all of those numbers.
Right. Okay.
To shoot them to Diana to see if they can retrace those numbers and see was because I haven't got any update. Normally they send updates on those DOT number. They'll say completed, denied, or whatever. But I don't remember getting updates. It was prior to Diana though. It was prior to Diana being the liaison. So we have to send her those numbers so she can look into it.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. I'll see what I have, and you and I can email
Yeah.
about that. The other thing, I'm curious if there's any further discussion or news that DOT could have, but a few months ago, if you remember, a bunch of neighbors in my building actually came to one of these meetings because there was a 5-car crash on Lincoln. I'm on Lincoln between Nostrand and Rogers. There was a 5-car crash that was almost an exact clone of the 6-car crash that was there the year before on
Right.
Lincoln. And because we don't have speed humps, we're assuming is a large part of the issue. And then just, I think at the night before our last committee meeting, they're around the corner, just on Rogers and Lefferts, like right around the corner, there was a a 7-car crash as well. So we were just overall talking about the large number of large scale crashes. And I know one of the residents in my building asked me, hey, did you ever hear anything about it? And I was like, I haven't, but I wanted to raise it again. Curious if you heard anything about reassessing speed humps or just speeding in general on
Okay,
Lincoln Road.
I'm sorry, I came on late, so I thought that was that was brought up while Diana was on, because from what I understand, they automatically denied the last request that was made as a duplicate of a previous request. So I would have thought that, and you know, and I'm that would have been like brought up when Diana was on. Like, it's not a duplicate request; it's actually a request made subsequent to all these other accidents that have happened prior to that all request. So the question have to be posed: how do they make determination on this denial without, just based on past history and not on current situations? Because all of the accidents that have transpired since the original request was made should be cause for them to revisit and restudy the situation. So I'll send that out.
That'd be great.
Yeah, okay. Because I know it was denied because they said that it was a duplicate, like it was already dealt with, but it wasn't. It was a new request.
Right, it was a new request. But I mean, like, when's the original request? Like, I know I requested one 5 years ago. I know I requested one again more recently last year. I know a neighbor requested right after the crash. Like, there's always a previous one, unfortunately, because people are always concerned about it. But like, it just seems like it's a bureaucracy concern of like, oh, well, we already have this in here. And it's like, I don't know if we need like Keith Bray to just take a walk on Lincoln and watch the speeding or something. But
they actually make a reference to the previous number, but I don't know what year that's from. But there is a reference to a previous number that's supposed to have been the original request. So I don't know what, I have to look into it, or have them provide, because even when you go online, when you put the DOT number, it doesn't really give you details.
Right.
It just gives you the status, but it doesn't give you details as to, how the decision was made. So we'll look into that one for the next meeting. All right, thank you. All right, everybody, if there's nothing else, it's 8:08. I don't know if there's anything else you guys want to talk about. If not, I will bid you a good night. I thank everyone for being here. And stay safe and warm.
thank you very much.
You as well. Thank you.
All
Nice to
right.
meet all the new neighbors, by the way. Thank you all.
Yes, welcome to our neighbors. Welcome.
Welcome, new neighbors.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thanks for attending.
valves,
Okay.
either your tri or
All right.
bicuspid.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.